Good morning, people. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Fix It Finance. Today, we have a good one for you. We are discussing affordability in Canada, what that looks like, the truth about affordability in Canada, what that looks like for, everybody. So today's topic is a little different, and I'm trying to, I just found myself reminiscing this week, like, okay, what's really what's happening. Of course, as you all know, I spend time just kind of reading and watching and just listening overall, just the general temperature of things. And today I just want us to kind of go over some of the things, that some trends, some things that I think we all need to start spending money on or paying attention to. You understand? Or things that I think in the near future we're gonna have to spend more money on, or at least have some sort of plan for. Okay. So welcome to Fix It Finance. My name is Fikayo. On this channel, I hope you take control of your money and build the life that you want. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Oh, my hair thingy. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to hit the notification button or bell, I think it's called. I just said button like a proper Britico. Okay. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to be the first to know when new videos are released. I go live on Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. So if you're new, I go live every Saturday at 12 p.m. on this channel. You'll see we started this in March and it has been a wonderful experience so far. So first of all, let me say thank you to every single person that has been joining, that has been consistent. I see you. Thank you to all the new subscribers. I see you as well. And thank you to all my day ones. You know yourselves. I just want to take some time to appreciate you. So, welcome again. My name is Fikayo, and this is Fix It Finance. I go live every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Today, we're talking about affordability in Canada. So, some trends that I'm noticing, like I mentioned, how to prepare for a future, for example, where we need to cover more expenses out of pocket. So one of the things we always teach you here at Fix It Finance is to gain control of your money, gain control of your money, gain control of your money, have control over your cash flow. Anybody that wants to steal your cash flow, delete them like they are the plague. You understand? Know your expenses, know the state of your flock, know what's coming in, know what's going out. That's one of the things we teach here a lot. We harp on it, we emphasize it, because your cash flow is your number one, you know, a tool to build the life that you want, to build wealth, to build whatever life you want. Your cash flow, cash is king, everything else is by the wayside. You understand? So you know um so today's topic is the truth about affordability in Canada. Now we all know everything from inflation to everything that's happening, but what I want to discuss is just some trends I've been noticing, how to prepare for a future where you may need to cover more expenses out of pocket. You understand? If you're watching, I don't know if you watched that debate, the presidential debate between Biden and Trump. I'm not talking about that today. But if anything, if you watched it, and if you're paying attention to what everything that's happening in and around us, you see that more and more, if we go back in history, so a lot of power shifted, quote unquote, to the government side of things. Okay, the individuals, individuals being you and I, individuals being households and families, they actually are the ones that hold financial power. Okay, and we give that power to the governments, to corporations. You understand? For example, a business is nothing if it doesn't have customers. You get? The government is nothing if it doesn't collect taxes. So one of the things I'm trying to do here at Fix It Finance is to restore that power to you, to help you understand that you are the one that has to be in control. You are the one that has to understand and build the life that you want. You're the one that has to take back control of your finances. Okay, just because the system here encourages you to live on debt doesn't mean you have to. Just because the system here encourages you to overspend, overconsume, and overdo does not mean you have to. Okay, so today's topic is what we're going to be talking about. It's like, okay, some of those expenses that I foresee, we're going to have to start doing more because the government just cannot afford it. If you remember when we talked about budget 2024, one of the main things we highlighted is the fact that the government needs to spend less. They keep spending all this money on all these other things because they're trying to be everything to everybody, and they just cannot. You as an individual, you as a family, you have to take control, and you have to be able to manage your own self. You understand? Be the CEO of your own family, of your own company, of your own, you understand, your own setup. You understand? So at the end of the day, you're able to take care of you and yours. You understand? And understand, nobody's coming to save you. I get that's the best way to put it. Nobody's coming to save anybody. Okay, so forget about, whatever governmental plan, whatever this. If that works out, praise God, we thank God. we accept it, we love it, we take it. If it doesn't, you want to make sure you have your own plan. Okay. So let's get into today's topic. We're going to discuss things like, theft, entering into contracts, healthcare costs, paying for services to redeem time, saving and investing in a strong currency, insurance, and of course, finally, what I think your motto should be moving forward. As we go into this next season, you understand, or next climate, financial climate, economic climate, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So like I mentioned, today we're just discussing overall some things that we may need to start spending money on or be prepared to spend money on now or in the near future. So let's start. So if you're new here, remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you are watching, remember to tell somebody that this is live and this is happening now. Okay. First things first, prevent or recover from different kinds of theft. If you've noticed any trend, at least in some of the bigger cities and even in some of the smaller cities, you need to understand, and I could be wrong. I've lived in Canada for almost 20 years now. I've noticed our system is not exactly built to be chasing after every petty thief. You understand? So if you're so for example, let's say someone steals $800 from you, chances are nobody's gonna help you recover that. Okay, I could be wrong. I'm not trying to. This has nothing to do with policing or the government or whatnot. That's not what this is about. What I'm trying to say here is, for example, if you think of things like identity theft, okay, identity theft has become so rampant in Canada. You understand? I've mentioned this a few times. You have to make sure that you are fending for yourself in that regard. Okay, imagine if your identity was stolen today, nobody's coming to save you or nobody's coming to recover it. What are you going to do to be able to recover it? You understand? Things like car theft, credit card fraud, and other kinds of theft in general. You understand? For example, in Toronto with the the rise of all the theft and whatnot when it comes to cars, people have started building all those or putting up, excuse me, those pillars, you understand, on their garage slash driveways, as a form of preventing car theft. That costs money. So if you don't have money, you're not going to be able to do that. You understand? So that means you in your state are going to be susceptible to theft. Okay. So basically, what I'm trying to say is you're going to have to spend money on things that help you fend for yourself. Okay. Put your own security in place. Okay. And help you know the state of your own flock and your own affairs. Okay. So those are some of the things I feel we should start spending money on now or in the near future. Okay. So if you're somebody that you don't yet have identity theft insurance, please go and get it now. Okay. Check your credit cards. Are your credit cards covered if there's any fraudulent activity on your card? You understand? Is your debit covered if there's any fraudulent activity on it? Make sure you know those things and make sure you put those things in place if you don't already have it. Okay. Check your accounts every day. Know the activity on your account. You should not be caught unawares by things like what's the word? NSF and all these other things. Oh, Oge is talking. Oh, thank you, Oge, for sharing. She said that last week her credit card was compromised to the tune of $300. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. I really hope they're able to recover that money for you. But if you don't have the right type of credit card, that money is just gone with the wind and now you have to pay that money. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing, Oge. This is what I'm talking about. All different kinds of theft are so rampant in Canada now. You have, as an individual, as a household, as a family, you have to spend money to secure yourself, okay, and to build your own security. You understand? And when I say your own security, it's things like spending money on the right type of insurance, the right type of coverages, the right type of security, whether it be on your house or it be on your, okay. So okay is saying that her credit card is insured. Thank God. Imagine if she did not have that insurance, she'll be on her own for that 300. And for some people, it's to the tune of 3,000, 30,000. I've seen, anyways, I check out all these fraud things a lot. There are people that have gone into fraudulent activities to the tune of 300K. Okay. So put those things in place, read up on, learn, and watch videos on some of these sophisticated types of fraud that are happening, from emotional fraud to marriage fraud to whatever type of fraud. Anything that you think you're susceptible to as a family, as an individual, read up on it, know it, and put the right coverages in place and the right things in place such that you will not be susceptible to such things. You understand? Okay, like I mentioned, check your accounts every day. Know the activity on your account. If Oge was not paying attention to her credit cards, she won't have known. There's some people, for example, it's not until 3, 4, 5 months after they will look at their credit card and realize, there was activity I did not approve on my card. That's too late. You should know those things as they happen. Okay. So I highlight here, even if you don't check it every day, weekly, always know what's happening, the activity happening on your accounts. Okay. Um, I mentioned this earlier, but have the right type of insurance in place and don't skimp on insurance. Identity theft insurance may cost you $30 a year. You can buy pizza for $30. Actually, in this inflationary environment, you can't really buy good pizza for $30 anymore. But you know what I mean? Like you can for the price of a cost of a box of pizza, you can get good identity theft insurance. You understand? Some credit cards don't have insurance. Why are you using that kind of credit card? Change it to a credit card that has insurance. You understand? Understand the type of insurance you have on your credit card, okay? You either pay for the insurance out of pocket upfront or you will pay to replace whatever was stolen. You know, imagine if Oge didn't have insurance, that's $300 she will have to cough out of her pocket. You understand now? So those are the kind of things I'm talking about. Okay. So the next thing is entering into contracts. So one of the things I've seen that's happening a lot in Canada that really annoys me, and you know, it's not necessarily the fault of the system. It's, you know, Canada is built on an honor system. We need to understand this. I've been here almost 20 years now. We are built on an honor system, meaning if I say it's pink, you believe it's pink and you go with the fact that it's pink. You understand? So what has happened is now a lot of people understand that it's an honor system. So they say it's pink, knowing fully well it's red, and you don't check, and then you find out later on that, oh crap, they sold me something that's red. You understand? So, you know, for example, there's not necessarily laws or strict laws. For example, I can set up a company today, and say that, you know, Brother Kiniko, a solar panel. I don't know if you see all these ads on YouTube. Let me use that as an example. Okay. You see all these ads on YouTube that are saying, do you live in Alberta? Did you know that the government provides a whatever for, you know, whatever, and will cover you for whatever. So you go in thinking, this thing is backed by the government, and it's not. They're just using the government name to advertise. You understand? You go, you sign your life away, and they end up putting liens on your property because they put one small thing on your property. And before, when you want to sell your house, you go and before you sell your house, you realize, oh, this company that I bought their camera 10 years ago, they've put a lien on my property for 20,000, and I can't sell the house unless I pay them the 20,000. Do you understand? So what I'm saying is, when you're entering into contracts, know what you're getting into. Don't sign up, okay, if you don't fully understand it. Even when you think you understand it, don't go with just what the salesman has said. Call 17 other people and ask them questions, okay? Call 50 other people, safe. Call me, I will answer your question. You understand? I'm serious. Like, a lot of people enter into some of these contracts, you know, they'll promise you, oh, by signing up for this solar panel, by signing up for this HVAC thing, by signing up for this whatever, you will save $500 a month. We are going to charge you $1,500 a month, but you will save $500 a month. And my man was like, wait, this math does not math. I'm gonna pay you 1,500 and you save me 600, and then I'm still out. What? Do you understand? So don't sign up for things you don't understand. And again, especially, and I say this out of the warmthness of my heart. If it is your cousin, auntie, brother, church member selling you the thing, just let all your red flags go up first. I'm not saying it's bad. Don't It's not bad yet. Just let your red flags go up, ask questions, then sign up. Okay? Especially if it's someone you know that's selling it to you. Okay. A word is enough for the wise. Because a lot of sales tactics in Canada use your warm market, like your warm people that are close to you, to sell stupid stuff to you. Okay. And that's just because we live on an honor system here. So, for example, this person goes, signs up for this particular product or this particular whatever training, and they pump them with sales strategy, they pump them with hype and motivation and sales strategy. Then they will run and come and meet you and say, we should do this, we should do that. You too, you carry your kaya and all your cash flow, give it to the person, and you'll be wondering, I'm paying $150 a month. I don't even understand what I'm fully paying for. You understand? Okay. So before you enter into contracts, understand this. Just because it has Canada in the name does not mean it's backed by the Canadian government, or because it has Alberta, Ontario, whatever in the name, doesn't mean that it's backed by the government. Okay. People use this as marketing tactics every day to get you to, sign up for foolishness. Okay. Canada's law is relaxed on a lot of these things. So double and triple check before you sign up. Okay. And even when you've double and triple checked, pause, wait, breathe before you sign up. Because once you enter that contract, you have entered a contract. You understand? I will leave that one there just because we're running out of time. I have some comments on Instagram. Someone says, "Hey sis, miss you." Hi, I miss you too. This is so good, Kyle. Can you save and share the video with us later? Yes, it's going to be on YouTube. So I'm live on YouTube as well. So this is Instagram. Had no idea about identity theft insurance. Yes, it's a thing. If you have home and auto insurance, you usually can bundle it with your home and auto insurance. Okay, so check that. You can bundle it with your home and auto insurance, um, and that way you can save a few bucks actually. Any ideas when we can get this kind of insurance from? Like I mentioned, your home and auto insurance. Check that, and you'll be able to get one or two things going there. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is healthcare out of pocket. So, if you live anywhere in Canada, you notice that when it comes to healthcare, you're either having to wait longer, you're having to do more things by yourself. If you're in Alberta, for example, if you I don't know if you were around when they changed over from I don't know who was our previous provider for lab work, and now it's a different company. You understand? If you were in that transition process, I remember going to do lab work in Calgary, and I had to wait. I went to the first place and they said the wait was going to be 6 hours. Hey, Jesus, 6 hours. Okay. I don't know what's happening, but my point is, as Canada continues to grow, and as Canada continues to evolve, okay, if we look into the history of free healthcare in Canada, it started on a whim. It wasn't exactly a well thought out process to a large extent. I've actually read up on the history of how free healthcare started in Canada. Some people think it started at the beginning of Canada. No, this is something that started, I believe it was in the 60s or so. I don't remember. But it's not something that's even up to 100 years old yet. Okay. Meaning we're still in the thick of it and we're still evolving, especially with how fast Canada is growing. You as an individual, you as a person, I will highly suggest you have enough funds, you save enough of an emergency fund such that you can, cover anything that may become quote unquote privatized in the future, or such that you may be able to get access wherever possible. Okay, let me see if I can land my thoughts a little better. As governments reorganize and as they try to control spending, we may or may not be required to pay for more things out of pocket. Okay, it's definitely on the table being discussed, whether we like it or not, at the provincial level, at the federal level, heck, at the municipal level too. You understand? I know they don't cover much in terms of healthcare, but we're gonna have to start looking at, we're gonna have to quote unquote shake the table. Okay. Whatever that looks like, as a family, as an individual, you want to be in a position financially, whereby you can cover any. So, for example, things like eye care, dental and whatnot. We don't cover that. Okay. The government doesn't cover that. That's usually covered through private healthcare, through your work and whatnot. Okay. You want to make sure, as an individual, as a family, should any of these things that are currently being covered no longer be covered, how are you going to be able to pay for some of those things out of pocket? Okay. If your entire cash flow is already tied up in paying off everything you consumed yesterday, and this is why we encourage you here at Fix It Finance to gain control of your spending, gain control of your cash flow. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. You want to be in a position such that if there is any shaking, whatever the shaking is, you can withstand the pressure. You can withstand, it's like the example I used, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, of, how we had generators in Nigeria. And even here we have generators. If you plug an iron in a generator, the generator is just going to, but it can withstand the pressure. If you plug in a freezer or a fridge into that same generator, you will share the so you can only fix that in one of two ways. Either you unplug the fridge or the generator, you unplug the fridge or freezer, or you increase the capacity of your generator. Okay. The small all those Yamaha small face me, I better pass my neighbor type generators, there's a limit to what they can handle. However, those big massive generators you see in all these buildings and whatnot, that the generator itself is a building, they can take way more. Okay. So what I'm advising, or not advising, what I'm encouraging you to do is to build your capacity. If you are currently Yamaha face me, I face you generator, build up your capacity, your finances, your cash flow, free up your cash flow such that you have capacity, such that when there is a shaking, you understand? A shaking, for example, see how inflation just caught everybody unawares. Okay. If you were already someone that you were already to the maximum limit of your cash flow, when inflation happens, what happens is your standard of living is either going to have to shrink, or you're going to rely more on debt to maintain your cash, to maintain your current lifestyle. Okay. However, if before inflation hits, you had already freed up your cash flow, even when inflation hits, there's still room, you understand, to still be able to have a life. There's still room to be able to do things. Okay. So I'm encouraging you. So, for example, when it comes to healthcare, there's going to be a shaking. I could be wrong, there might be a shaking, there may not be, they may not. But my point is, be prepared. You understand? Be prepared. Whatever comes, whether it be expenses or even opportunities, that's another thing. You want to be able to take advantage of opportunities, but that's not the point I'm making here. Okay. Imagine, for example, tomorrow they decide, okay, lab work is no longer covered. We're going to have to be required to pay. So every time you go to get blood work done, you have to pay a small fee. Little things like that, that adds up to your cost of living and your expenses. So you want to be prepared. Okay. Again, if things like that never happen, we bless God. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. We use the money for something else. But you as an individual and as a family, you need to be prepared that anything can happen. Okay. So you don't want things to be too tight. Okay. The point is have your finances in order so you can take life as it comes at you. Okay. I see some comments here. Um, Let me see. Michael says church members selling those products to you touches a soft spot. We've been there and the product did not last for more than, yeah, I know. In fact, I used to have a license for some products before. One of the reasons I gave up my license is because I did not want to have that conflict of interest. If I'm talking to you about finance, I want you to know I have nothing to gain off of you. And no offense, you guys on this call, on Instagram, on YouTube, Facebook, whatever, that's one of the reasons I'm able to talk freely and whatnot, because I don't want to situation where but if I'm telling you about life insurance and I also sell life insurance, for example, even when you're going to think it's because I'm trying to sell you something, you get. And yes, a lot of times they use your soft markets, meaning the people that are close to you, to sell you foolishness. So every time, I'm very skeptical. I will hear what you have to say, then I'll cross check, cross examine, double check, triple check, do my own research. 9 out of 10 times, I even know more than the person that's trying to sell me something. And I say that with all humility. So there was someone that was trying to sell me something recently, and I asked her one question, and she did not know the answer. And I'm like, it is well. Me, you're trying to sell me something. I know the answer to this question. You that you're the seller, you don't know it. Anyways, that's not what we're here. But yes, you've been there, and I hope you've learned. I'm sure you've learned the lesson. That lesson is a lesson you don't learn more than once. Um, Oge says you love the generator. Now it's true. It's such a, especially if you understand how generators operate, it makes so much sense. I don't know if you when I was a kid, I remember those days when they turn on the generator. We know all the things that are off. The freezer is off, the fridge is off. What else is off? But we can turn on the TV, we can turn on the iron, we iron our school clothes, blah blah blah. But if you go and do mistake and you turn on AC, you just hear the generator. Sometimes it will go off safe. You understand? It would actually go off. So as much as possible, if you are a generator, increase your capacity. That's what I'm trying to say. Expand your capacity. Become a generator that needs a house. Don't be face me, I face you generator. Yamaha, what's the other word? This Panasonic. I don't remember. You understand? Okay. Services that redeem time. I'm trying to rush here because this time used to fly. Okay, so one of the things I think as an individual, as a family, that you're going to have to start paying for in and over the near future is as households get busier. Okay, households are getting busier and busier. One of the things I personally have been very intentional about in my household is to eliminate busy, whatever busy looks like. You understand? You know, and busy for this, especially busy for the sake of busy. Now, there's busy because you have to be. So households get busier and busier. For example, in an effort to afford the lifestyle that they've built. You understand? Something occurred to me in the shower today, and I was like, may it not be. And I pray this prayer for every single person that's listening, whether now or later, and anybody that has ever been connected to Fix It Finance. That is not that you will look up from your life 20, 30, 40 years after you've been working, and all you have to show for your years of working is a house and 2 cars. Can you imagine? That's all you have to show for working 30, 40 years, a house and 2 cars. You understand? And I say this because, as households get busier and busier, right? In an effort to afford their life. Oh, the other thing that occurred to me, thank you, Jesus. Some of you need to pause and actually take time to calculate your cost of borrowing. If you calculate it and you really realize how much you are spending on interest, and when I say interest, not interest coming to you, interest that's going outside, you'll be pissed off enough to go and pay off everything you owe. I'm telling you. Because, for example, if you calculate, a lot of people don't see it because it just goes out in the form of payment. And you think, oh, okay, I've made my 800 payments, I've made my 2,000 payments, glory be to God. Your mortgage, for example, let's say you're within the first 5 years of your mortgage, you do not put 20% down, you put 5% down, okay? You likely have, let's say your mortgage payment is 2,000. If you check it, half is going to interest, half is going to the mortgage principal. So in a month already, 1,000 is just it just blowing in the wind. Do you understand? 1,000 is just going to the bank. Just thank you. Thank you. Do you understand? Again, I'm not. That's not. I have a mortgage too, so this is not oh a condemnation of any kind. But what I'm trying to say is, it puts things in perspective. Now that's on your house alone. When you calculate what you are paying in interest on your car every month, some people are paying 300 more, 300 or more, 500 or more. That's the amount going to interest, not to pay off the car. So in a household like that, for example, $1,500. Let's say you make 6,000 a month. 1,500 of that 6,000 is just going towards paying people, not going towards building your own future, building your own life, helping your own children. Some of us were paying 1,500, 2,000 or more in interest, and our children's RESP has less than $2,000 inside. That ought not to be. And again, I'm not saying this to condemn you. I'm trying to encourage you to actually take stock, look at what is happening in your house, and change accordingly. Fix it accordingly. Pun intended. Okay? Fix it accordingly. Okay? So don't just sit back, relax, and say, oh, we're making our payments, we're doing life. Is just you just wake up 30 years, 40 years, you've been in Canada, and all you have to show for it is a house and two cars. You understand? Of which you may still have a payment on one of the cars. Okay? Let that not be your story. Okay, that's not the point of this point, but I did not want to forget that. I may need to cut this session short just because I have three more points and I'm already at 10:26. Okay, services that redeem time. Like I mentioned, as households get busier and busier in an effort to afford their lifestyle. For example, when I mentioned before, let's say you were already to the limit of your cash flow. As inflation and higher cost of living and other things come in, now you're having to either rely on debt or do things like get a second job or a third job. There are people that are working 2 3 jobs to afford the current lifestyle they've built, to afford the car they have, the home they live in and whatnot. Again, it's not a function of them being bad people, it's just the way life just lifed. Okay, and nobody planned for it. Okay, so now people are working all these jobs, for example, to be able to afford living in a major city, a major expensive city. Think of the Vancouvers, the Torontos of this world. Okay, you either have to simplify your life, aka move. It's an option if you want to, like move to a smaller place where the cost of living is not that much, or find ways to become less busy. You understand? Again, because when it comes to redeeming time, it's not just about the money you save, it's about what what you are saving gets you. Okay, for example, you see situations whereby mom and dad are so busy working. Mom is a nurse, dad is a EMT or whatever engineer, and everybody's working so hard and the children are literally raising themselves. My brothers and sisters, that is not God's will for us. And I'm not trying to condemn anybody here. What I'm trying to get you to do is to pause, think, sit back, and re-strategize. You see situations whereby the parents have been working, 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 working. The child goes to university and just turns. You're like, I raised this child in the church. What happened? Meanwhile, if you really think about it, were you really raising the child? You understand? But that's not the point of this conversation. What I'm trying to say is, as we get busier and busier because of the lifestyle we've chosen to live, okay? We've chosen that we want to drive a 2024 model, and we've chosen that we want to live in a 17-bedroom house because starter homes do not no longer satisfy us, okay? Which again, last week when we talked about it, who came up with the concept of starter home? A home is a home. Whether, anyways, that's not what we're here. Okay. So, as an individual, as a family, you may need to start spending more money on things to help you free up time in your life. Okay. And this is for those that can afford it, not those that can't afford it. Again, if your life is getting busier and busier and busier, simplify, find ways to become less busy, because there are other things you need to spend your time on beyond working. Okay, there's time for your relationship with God, for your relationship with your children, for your relationship with your spouse, your family. The spouse one should have come after God, but you know what I mean. You understand? There are other things that you need to do to have a more fulfilling life. It's not just work, work, work. Like I said, you don't want a situation where you wake up 20 years down the line and all you have to show for your life is the fact that you have a house and two cars. Your children barely speak to you. You and your spouse are strangers living in the same house. That's not, I don't know about you. If that's the life you want, for those of us on this call that don't want that life, let's find ways to, figure things out. You may need to start hiring or using things like having a housekeeper, you know, a driver, errand runner, specialist shopping, interior decorator, having a cook, after hours childcare, things like that, to help you free up time, and to help you for basically what I'm trying to say with this point is, at the end of the day, as individuals, as households, we may need to figure out a way, for example, let's say you have a highly demanding job, you're a doctor, you're an engineer, you're an accountant, whatever. Nothing wrong with that, but that means you may need to, instead of spending your money so much on buying the latest Escalade, maybe buy a RAV4 so that you can afford to have a housekeeper. So as the housekeeper is cleaning your house, you're spending time with your children. You understand? So you can be able to afford someone to cook for you, so that as that person is cooking, you and your spouse, you can be hanging out with each other. Okay. So those are some of the things I feel like individuals and household may need to start or figure out, as we've been talking about from when we started. But let's move on to the next thing just because of time. This one says save and invest in a strong currency. I see this argument all the time where people are like, oh, you must invest in Ginkgo. And there's nothing wrong. Choose where you want to invest and how you want to invest. But my encouragement would be to encourage you to invest in a currency that get power. It is what it is. Make sure you're investing in a currency that you know for a fact is going to have staying power. We don't know what the world is tomorrow, and a currency can rise and fall today as God will it. Okay. But for the most part, what you want to do is to make sure you are spending your efforts investing, in a currency that is strong. Okay. Because if you're spending your efforts investing in a currency that's currently weak, or that doesn't show, and there are ways to tell. It is not a matter of a quote unquote prayer and fasting to a large extent. It's simple. Just look, for example, if a currency in particular is heavily traded, you understand, people like trading in that currency. Those are some of the things you look at. Okay. And when I say people, I'm also talking about governments and corporations and institutions. What are those currencies that people use? For example, there's no country you travel to today where a pound or a dollar is not going to be accepted to a large extent. You understand? So basically, what I'm trying to say is, as individuals, as households, make sure you're gathering assets in strong currencies, no matter the country you live. You could live in Nigeria, you could live wherever. Make sure you are gathering assets or finding ways to generate income in strong currencies. And people are doing it today. So whatever that looks like, that's not the subject of the, maybe we'll do another topic of ways to, do that. But I think for the most part, as individuals, as families, make sure you are saving and investing in a strong currency. Okay. Nothing wrong in building house in the village, but don't build house in the village for 300,000, and yet in Canada you don't even have a condo. Okay, do you? It's not my place to tell you what to do, but just rethink. Okay. Last but not least, insurance. I mentioned it a little bit earlier today, but did you know that some home insurance companies would actually drop you if you make 2 or more claims in Canada? Did you know that? And there are people that has happened to before. We're paying for this home insurance, and you go and you make a claim. Yeah, because the cost of insurance has also gone up for insurance companies. Okay. So as individuals, as families, what we want to do is to make sure, okay, that you have enough funds to be able to cover things for yourself when it comes to your home. Okay. It's not everything you go through insurance, because you're going to put yourself in unnecessary trouble. And once you've been dropped by your insurance company, to find another insurance company is going to be more expensive. Okay. So you need to have funds to cover minor emergencies yourself. Okay. You get a quote, they say, oh, it's going to cost, $4,000, $3,000, $6,000. You should be able to cover that by yourself. Don't necessarily go through insurance. Again, this is not advice. Do you as you see fit. Okay. Have money set aside to cover damages. There are so many things you can fix by yourself or call someone to fix for you. You don't have to go through insurance. Okay. Now, you need to know your own insurance. You need to know what the insurance company wants to know and blah, blah, blah. So this is not financial advice. Okay. So make sure you understand that. But more importantly, have money set aside to do proper maintenance on your house. For example, a lot of us, we buy homes and we just don't touch it until something breaks. That's not how you should do it. Every year, every other year, every 3 years. For example, I have a running list on my phone right now of all the things I need to fix in my house. You understand? I'm currently shopping around for a handyman that's going to come and help me do everything. You understand? A handyman will collect however much per hour. Even if he comes, pay him for 10 hours, let him do it over a weekend. Go through the house, top to bottom, anything that needs fixing. Oh, this crack here. Oh, this light bulb there. Oh, this toilet jam there. Oh, this. Fix it. You understand? Because we maintain our cars, for example, but for some reason we forget to maintain our homes. You need to maintain your house too. Okay. You need to, if something is broken, if something is cracked, Note it. You don't even have to fix it every single time it breaks. Note it. Then once a year, once every 2 years, have somebody come, give them the note, let them fix everything. Okay? You understand? And it requires money. Have inspections done. It's not just before you buy a house you're supposed to do an inspection. You're supposed to do an inspection quite often, actually. When I say quite often, it could be once a year, it could be once every 3 years, it could be once every 5 years, whatever that looks like to you. Let somebody professionally go through your house and let you know, hey, there's a crack here. Oh, there's this, there's a leak here, there's this, there's that, there's the other thing. And those are the kind of things you should be spending money on because it saves you in the long run. Okay. And finally, our motto here, anything you do here in Canada, buyer beware. It's really that simple. Buyer beware. Okay, should be your motto in all things, as no one is coming to save you or to arrest anybody if they take advantage of you. Even if they arrest them, you may not get your money back. Okay, so it's better to be beware and to save yourself upfront than to be giving yourself stress afterwards. Okay, that brings us to the end of today's session. I hope you learned something. I hope excuse me, I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you that you should, you know, understand affordability here in Canada and, get your ducks in a row so that nobody can take advantage of you and that you have enough funds to be able to make sure you are not a victim, of just foolishness in general. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. God bless you. See you next week. I go live every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Tell somebody to tell somebody. See you next week. Bye, everybody.